when I was researching Deviant, I was in touch with Robert Bloch, the author of Psycho, and I asked him why I thought people were so interested in Ed Gein, and he said, because they've forgotten about Albert Fish. So I started looking into the case of Albert Fish. Most people interested in this area regard Albert Fish as the most heinous serial killer in the history of American crime. He was a sadistic, cannibalistic pedophile who tortured and murdered, well, nobody knows for sure, but dozens and dozens of children throughout the United States. And when I wrote that book in particular, it was very disturbing to me for the obvious reasons, one of which is I had two young daughters of my own who were about the same age as the kids that Fish preyed on. But what I also often tell people is that I compare my experience to what it seems to be the common experience, let's say, of first-year medical students. When they dissect their first cadaver, it's like total, some of them get sick, they run out of the room. After a while, they're kind of eating their lunch while they're doing it. So it's not that you become inured to the horror. It's more that you become aware of what human beings are capable of.
Yeah. I feel like I know a lot about true crime and people, like the Ed Geins, and I mean, not to the extent of your knowledge, but why has there not been anything about this Albert Fish? That's the first time I'm hearing it. If he's they did a film with Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and I think that was based on Henry Lee Lucas, and that film itself, very disturbing to me. That's one film I had kind of trouble with still this day when they videotape the family getting killed that Henry Lee Lucas said he did. But Albert Fish, you wrote a book on him. This sounds like it would be a feature film, or because of the topic of this guy, how many he had killed.
I just think the Fish story is too upsetting to ever be filmed. I mean, nobody would watch it, given what Albert Fish did. I mean, Albert Fish would abduct young boys, castrate them, and leave them to bleed to death. He would do things like that, and that's not even the worst thing.
When was this happening? What years?
He was active in the 1920s. He was finally captured in 1934. A couple of years before that, he had abducted a beautiful young girl in New York City named Grace Budd and taken her up to a house in Westchester County, a northern suburb of New York City, and killed her and cut up her body and brought about 8 pounds of her flesh back to his boarding house and made it into a stew.
Oh, God. And there's no movie on this. I'm not. Yeah. I'm with you on it. I mean,
nobody would make a movie of that.
Yeah.
And that, how was he captured?
Well, he was finally captured. And Fish was so sick. Yeah. It's really beyond imagination. He had gotten away with the crime. And then 2 years later, from out of the blue, he sent a letter to Grace Budd's mother telling her exactly what he had done to her daughter. And there was one detective who had, remained on the case for several years. He was determined to catch Fish. And Fish, who was staying in a boarding house, had used stationery that he found in the boarding house to write this letter. Anyway, they were able finally to trace the stationery back to Albert Fish. And that's how he finally got caught. I mean, if he hadn't written that letter, he probably never would have gotten caught.
Wow. The scariest part, too, is this is the 30s, right?
Yeah.
No forensics, no DNA, no databases. I mean, you just have no idea how many victims someone like he would have.